Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Let's do it.
Hola, bienvenidos nuevamente al canal. El día de hoy estoy con Alexandra Christo,
Hello.
autora de Matar, Reino. Ella lo dice más bonito que yo. Voy a estar con ella hoy y voy a hacerle preguntas de por qué. Ustedes saben cómo es esta sección, yo pregunto por qué y ella básicamente responde hasta que se desespere y me tire por una ventana.
What she said.
Basically what I was saying is I'm gonna ask you why until you get so tired of me that you throw me out the window or out the balcony, and that's what happens. Okay, so Alexandra writes fantastic novels.
Yes.
Why?
I feel like fantasy is a really unique way to encourage readers to know that their dreams are possible, that anything is possible, that magic is possible, that if they believe strong enough then they can achieve whatever they want. And fantasy is a really unique way to do that, and it can also draw attention to political situations, to race, and I think it just inspires children to never stop believing in something.
Why do you think it's important to have topics such as race and diversity in books?
Well, to encourage people to not be afraid of the other, to not be afraid of change, to not be afraid of something just because it's different, to show that there are so many different people in the world and our differences are what makes us beautiful, our differences are what makes the world so fantastic. And I think you can do that in fantasy with like having different races of like elves and stuff like that, and it can show children that these people and these cultures have so many fantastic things to offer and we should embrace that.
Why do you write?
I don't write because it's fun. I've always wanted to do it. My mother taught me to read from a very, very young age. She taught me to write from a very young age, so it's just always been a passion of mine. I love words, I love finding new words and finding out how to spell them. I just can't imagine doing anything else. I don't know what I'd be if I wasn't a writer.
Why do you think it's important to come to this kind of events, to a book fair?
I think it's important to get to know your readers from across the world. It's not really fair to readers who enjoy your story and find such passion in your story that they never get to see you and never get to meet you. I don't think that's very nice. I think if readers support me, I would love to support them. If readers want to meet me, I want to meet them. And I love to explore the world and find out about different cultures, find out about my readers, find out what makes them happy, and then form a connection with them, because my readers are such an important part of my job and of my life. So I just find events like this so exciting.
Why sirens?
Oh, they're so interesting. Come on, a murderous race of women who can like seduce men to their death. I mean, that's fun. And I liked playing on the idea of what it means to be a monster. Is it just because you were born not human? That's not really fair. What else makes you a monster? Are you born that way? Can you change that way? And Sirens offered a really, really unique way to do that. And I got to play with what's a mermaid and talk about the Little Mermaid. So I mean, that's always fun. Fairy tales are always fun.
This is not going to be a why, but which?
I broke you. I won. Victory.
But which is your favorite Disney character? Ooh. And why? There you have it.
Okay, there's a why. I still won, but I really, really loved Rapunzel when I was younger. I loved the idea of her like letting down her hair, and she was trapped in this tower, and she couldn't explore the world, but she desperately wanted to, and so she imagined worlds for herself. And I also really, really loved Belle in Beauty and the Beast, because she was a massive reader, and I love the idea of her just discovering new books and really becoming immersed in that. My mother used to dress me up as Belle for like parties and stuff. So I saw a lot of myself in her, kind of a brown-haired book nerd. That was me.
We all love her, we all feel identified with her, because
hopefully none of us have been kidnapped by a monster.
We've all been here in the sense like we all read and people around us is like, okay, why is she reading?
Get
like
your head
what
out
is she
of a
doing?
book. Yeah.
Yesterday I was in the talk you had with Esteban and Fernando and Cesar, and I loved listening to Esteban said that he read that you love fairies.
Yes.
And I thought that was so amazing to say, and I'd like to ask you, why fairies?
Fairies are magical creatures. They're these tiny little people that have all the power in the world. And if you look at books like Peter Pan, their life depends on whether or not people believe in them. They can die and come back to life just on people's belief. And I love that the root of fairies is in dreams and is in that belief. I think there's something magical about that. And I used to really love the idea when I was little of like a fairy living at the end of my garden, like a little magical creature who would teach me all about their world. And it's the idea of like another world hidden just under our noses which I always think is a magical idea.
Why believe?
Why believe? Well, why not believe? What's the alternative? You either believe that something could be great, or you say, no, I really think it's crap. I think the best part of life is believing that anything could be possible. I think that brings you so much joy to know, okay, it might not happen, but it could happen, and what if it could?
Yeah, okay, we are completely in complete agreement. I like to be your best friend forever because I feel like this is like an understanding in a spiritual level. So last but not least, I haven't read your book yet.
Rude. Leave. Turn it off.
I like to ask you why read your book.
Because it's a fun feminist fairy tale. A lot of the times, I've spoken about this before, but a lot of times fairy tales, women don't get the best endings in fairy tales. If they do, their endings are all about romance. Their stories are always focused around the man story. And this is a tale about strong women taking control of their own story, pushing forward and saying, I want this, and I'm not going to apologise for it. A lot of the times women are told to feel sorry for being too ambitious or to choose between love and their career. She doesn't want that. She's the most powerful person in the entire world. She can have whatever the hell she wants. And I think that's an important message for women today to say, don't limit yourself. Society has already going to place enough limits on you, so don't do that for yourself. Break free. And so I think that's why you should read To Kill a Kingdom, because it's fun. And there's also an evil siren who rips out hearts.
Okay, so thank you very much for sitting with
Thank
me
you for
and
having
answering
me.
my whys and not throwing me out the window.
No, and I think I beat you at your own game, so.
Pueden conseguir Matar un Reino en todos los estantes del Océano o en todas las librerías del país, altamente recomendado. Ella es una persona maravillosa, así que aprovechenla. Bye.
Bye.